deeper conversations, deeper understanding about science topics relevant to our community.
So we're very much influenced by our past behavior and by the past behavior of and attitudes of people like us or near us or who we like. So I think that at the end of this talk, you're going to find it pretty humorous, and maybe this is just nerdy humor, so probably you will too, just like me, that I included intuition in the title of the talk without realizing or thinking logically and rationally that that's where we'd be tonight. So I had to just put the logo there. All right, so what I want to do today is talk to you guys about our mind. So your mind has two systems. You process information in two different ways. You have a deliberate system that thinks deeply about things, rationally, logically, weighs the pros and cons of your decisions. And then you have an automatic decision-making system that's quick. It's efficient, it's unconscious, you don't think much about things. So we're going to test these systems, and we're going to have a little fun doing it. So you have to play along. I don't know how much drink you've had, but hopefully you've had enough to play along. All right, I want you to read the words aloud on the screen as quickly as possible, and we're going to do it together. So words will show up here. I need you to read them all together, but quickly. Are you ready? Okay. I mean, that was good, but it was a little slow, but that's okay. It wasn't hard, right? You saw the words, you read it, it's no big deal. Let's try it again. But this time I want you to do something differently. I want you to name the color of the words. I don't want you to read the words, I want you to see the word and name the color, and as fast as you can and out loud. And you've got to be quick. Are you ready? In order, starting at the top left and going down like you're reading a book. But you're not reading, you're naming the color.
Yellow.
Bartender, cut them off. All right, something happened here, right? This is quite different. There's something different going on here, and this is a test of your other system. So what happened was, when you see a word, you are taught and trained from a very young age to read that word. That's an automatic thing. You don't have to think about it, you just do it. So the automatic system uses the automatic system. And when you're trying to name the color of the word, then you have to override this automatic tendency and you use your deliberate system. So we're going to talk about the automatic system, and it's actually really beneficial. The automatic system is what tells you when you encounter a tiger in the woods to run as fast as possible and get the heck out of Dodge, right? You don't stop and weigh the pros and cons of that tiger mauling you, and if it mauled you, what's the likelihood that you would die? You just run. You run like the wind. But that automatic system is also the same system that caused a woman in Virginia, for real, to call 911 because a lion escaped from the zoo and was walking around in her suburban neighborhood. Okay, there's a problem there. All right, so we're going to play some more games like that. Here's another one. All right, I'm going to read this aloud. Linda's 31. She's single, outspoken, and very bright. She majored in philosophy in college. As a student, she was deeply concerned with discrimination and other social issues, and she participated in anti-nuclear demonstrations. Based on that description, would you say it's more likely that A, Linda is a bank teller, or B, Linda is a bank teller and active in the feminist movement? What do you guys think? All right, people are most likely to say B. Thank you for obliging. But there's a problem here. How could it possibly be more likely that Linda is two things than one of those two things? You're with me, right? That's not possible. But what happens, we see this description of Linda. It seems like it's representative of somebody who's a feminist, and so we think Linda must be a feminist. We're ignoring the base rate logical chances here that she could be two of these things. This is called the Representativeness Heuristic. Let's play some more. All right, this one is hard. I actually still have a struggle with this one. All right, imagine that each of these square blocks is a card. And the card has a letter on one side and a number on the other side. Which two cards do you need to turn over to test this statement? A card that has a vowel on one side has an even number on the other side. I'll give you a second to think through. Figure out if you're going to flip two of these cards, which two do you need to flip? How many people think E and 4? No one wants to raise their hands anymore after what we've been doing? Okay, most people in research would say E and 4. Let's walk through it. Okay, so E Do you need to flip E? Yeah, we need to flip E because if it has a vowel on this side, we need to make sure that the other side is an even number, right? So we need to flip E. Does anybody think we should flip K? No, we don't need to flip K. What about 4? People often think we need to flip 4, but there's a problem here. We don't need to flip 4. There's nothing in this description that says if there is an even number on one side, there has to be a certain thing on the other side. That's not what it says, right? So we don't need to flip 4, sorry. We do need to flip 7. Why do we need to flip 7? We need to flip 7 because if there happens to be a vowel on the other side of 7, we've disproven the rule, right? We don't usually seek out disconfirming information. We want to seek out information that confirms our hypotheses, and this is a logical fallacy. This is a problem. That one's kind of hard. People do better at this one. And I think because we're at a brewery, we should do this one too. This is the same idea. Each card represents a person at a bar, with one side has their drink and the other side has their age. The legal drinking age is 21. Which 2 cards must you flip over to verify that the bar is serving drinks in accordance with the law? I'll give you. I hear some beers in 19, some beer in 22. Let's walk through it. Do you need to flip over the beer? Yeah, you gotta make sure that person's legal, right? And if not, you have to take their beer and drink it yourself. Do you need to flip over the Coke? No, because anybody, regardless of age, can drink the Coke. What about 22? No, because the 22-year-old could drink the Coke or they could drink a beer. That's not going to help you disprove or prove anything. What about 19? What if you flip it over and someone's drinking a beer? No, that can't be. So that could disprove our rule. So yes, you're getting it now. An example like this is a little easier to get than this abstract numbers and letters. This is called confirmation bias. Now, confirmation bias can be a real problem because what happens is we like to seek out confirming information. We like to find people that agree with us, and we like to keep in that little silo. Find more and more people that agree with us and keep getting more and more extreme. And you can see this in, I'm not going to preempt Binder, but you can see this in some of the work that people like him do. So this is, I hope it'll work, this is an animation from 1994 to 2015 that the Pew has done, looking at the polarization of different political parties. And you can see they become more and more polarized over time as people seek out these silos in the confirmation bias. And I'll say I saw a graphic of the 2017 results. I couldn't get it to animate, technical issues, but it's even more extreme. So it even pulls with the liberal, Democrats are pulling more liberal, and Republicans are pulling more conservative. Okay, let's keep going. This is fun. I like doing this. How many of you guys have flown recently? When you fly, you're about to take off, kind of start shaking. Anybody say a prayer to somebody you might not usually pray to? Please let me have a safe landing. Anybody do that when you get in the car? Anybody do it before you came here today? Why not? The chance of you dying fatally in a car crash is 170 times more likely than in an airplane crash. So what's up with the irrational praying, right? I don't mean that way. I just mean on the plane versus in the car, right? That's irrational. Why do we do that? The reason is, in the media, do you hear about all these terrible car crashes? Very rarely, but you do hear about every single plane crash in a lot of vivid detail. And in our mind, that becomes very available. When you go through your mind and think of things, that's one of the first things that comes to the top of your mind or the tip of your tongue. It's called the availability heuristic. And it can be problematic. If you've been reading the news and hearing about people win the lottery, you're more likely to go buy lottery tickets and spend your money on that as opposed to other things. And it can happen at the beach. When you hear, especially at Jack's Beach, that people are getting bitten by sharks, you're terrified to get into the ocean. I don't know how Mike goes surfing. That's terrifying. Again, right, I fall prey to this bias even though I know about it. Okay, here's another one. I want you to look at these words and tell me what number 5 should be. I'm hearing a lot of greens. Now look at these 5 words. What should number 5 be? I heard a lot of grape. What gives? It's a 5-letter word that starts with GR. How come everybody says green on the first one and everybody says grape on the second one? The idea is the way our information is organized in our minds. In our mind, we don't just take everything we know, throw it in there and shake it up and just pull stuff out randomly. We don't. Our mind is organized, and it's organized by categories or what we call schemas. And so when you read about all of these different colors, that activates your category of colors. And so that's quick to come up on the top of your mind when you're asked to fill in the blank. And the same here with fruit. When you're thinking about fruit, all the other fruits in that category are also activated. You're quick to think of that when you're given an option. And this is called priming. The priming research is ridiculous. It is so awesome and cool. Priming research shows that if you put people in a lab with a balance beam, and on the wall you put different posters of alcohol, like vodka or beer, as people walk across the balance beam, they will walk more wobbly than if you put more neutral posters on the wall. And the participants in these studies, they have no idea. They cannot even tell you what they saw on the wall. It's completely under their consciousness. If you have people smell the smell of an all-purpose cleaner, they'll be more likely to throw something away in the garbage instead of littering than if they didn't have this smell. And this is one of the most famous ones. If you give people word scrambles, so a sentence that would be like, I don't know, blonde her hair is, like her hair is blonde, like you have to put those words together in a sentence. If you have them do that, and some of the words in those sentences are words related to the elderly, like gray, retired, wrinkle, or Florida, it always has to be Florida, people walk slower. After they do that, they will walk slower across the room than people who've done word searches with more neutral, or word searches, or in this case, actually, it's a sentence scramble with more neutral words. What? Like, this is unreal stuff, but it happens. We find this repeatedly in a bunch of different studies. This is called priming. Okay, so right now you might be feeling like Homer Simpson, like, oh my gosh, my unconscious mind is just taking me around and doing all these stupid things that I shouldn't be doing. What gives? I don't want you to panic. Most of your decisions are good ones. We should rely on our automatic system. It saves us from tigers in the jungle. But we should also rely on our deliberate system. And so that's the system, remember, that thinks through things, makes pros and cons lists, things like that. So how do you use your deliberate system more? You can use it through thinking critically and fact-checking things. Think deeply through things. Play the devil's advocate. If you believe something, try to argue the counterpoint. Maybe you'll be convinced of the other side. And check your values at the door. Figure out if you're seeking out information just to confirm your previous existing values, or if you're actually seeking out truth or true information. All right, and I want you to rely on research, and this is where Michael's talk is going to come in. The scientific method has a lot of checks in place to make sure that we're not just relying on these biases, that we're actually relying on a scientific method that has steps to take care of that. And then, of course, we have peer review. And peer review guarantees we have multiple eyes looking at each project to make sure that we're not acting in bias. So the sum up of this particular part of the talk is that research is superior to intuition. I don't know if anything can be superior to this I-10 IPA I have up here, but I'm just saying in terms of your own self, you should rely on research instead of intuition.
Tonight, our two guests.
But if it's an actual person, I might be more likely.